So this week, the FBI finally arrested the Jan 6th pipe bomb suspect who left 2 bombs outside the DNC and RNC headquarters the day before. He's 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. of Virginia. Let's go to Jake Tapper for the lowdown.
Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs. We do have new photographs, as you saw during that presentation from Brian, new photographs of the suspect.
Well, that's a shade of white I've never seen before. Maybe he borrowed some shoe polish from Jimmy Kimmel. Anyway, it took the Trump White House no time to get the guy, after 4 years of the Biden White House going nowhere. Well, nowhere except through Melania Trump's underwear drawer. So why so long? Well, here's FBI Director Kash Patel breaking it down for the second best-looking man at Fox, Trace Gallagher.
The prior administration sat on the evidence for 4 years. There wasn't any production of new evidence from 5 years ago. We looked at 3 million lines of evidence. We went back and looked at the cell phone tower data dumps. We went back and looked at the providers and what information they provided pursuant to search warrants at the time, and asked questions such as why weren't all the phone numbers scrubbed and why weren't they connected and why wasn't there any geolocational data done? Now, that is either sheer incompetence or complete intentional negligence, and neither of which is acceptable for this FBI.
So that's the difference, looking at data dumps instead of the dumps Biden left around the White House. So now they got the guy. The only mystery is why the Biden administration seemed less interested in this than Lindsey Graham is at Hooters. So why did Trump do the job that Biden didn't? Don't say it's because Biden's brain dead. He proved that brain-dead people can still investigate Catholics, parents from school board meetings, and spend months trying to track down and arrest grannies. And while cell phone tower data was part of how they busted Cole, the Biden White House used similar data to track down hundreds of Jan 6 Trump supporters for other crimes. So it's more than just being brain-dead. Although Democrat Senator Mark Warner, whose brain is so dead doctors keep trying to harvest his kidneys, he still blames the Trump White House.
Looking at this crowd doing a victory lap when all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes. It's a little rich that they're saying they're America's safer. How much earlier could we have caught this guy if resources hadn't been diverted?
Resources hadn't been diverted, pal. They weren't the ones busy chasing down anyone who might have tried on a MAGA hat in the last 10 years. If this guy was any more of a douchebag, Tim Walz would put him in a boy's bathroom. But Warner's just covering for his team. And why? Well, Cole's arrest would have destroyed the narrative that Jan 6 was a white supremacist movement. Remember, here's what Biden and his cronies in Congress had to say about that.
In the violent, deadly insurrection on the Capitol 9 months ago, it was about white supremacy in my opinion.
They started conducting an investigation that left one team to cover the Capitol complex. So in other words, if those pipe bombs were intended to be a diversion, plainly speaking, it worked.
I know that the Department of Homeland Security had identified domestic violent extremism, violent white supremacy as the #1 terror threat in the country. But were they just overwhelmed and stunned at the complexity and magnitude of the attack?
Thank you, sir. I would venture to say yes.
So imagine saying that, and it turns out the bomber's black. There goes your narrative crumbling like the powder I put in Brit Hume's drink. Instead of this being a story of white supremacy, it's yet another story of a nutbag. And now the press claims that the motive could be that the bomber thought the 2020 election was rigged. Yet, he started collecting supplies for the bombs a year prior. Cole also worked for his dad's bail bonds business, which specialized in freeing illegals from ICE. And they sued Trump's DHS over its deportation policies. Still under Biden, the case was collecting dust, much like Biden himself. But under Trump, the case is revived. The perp ID'd and the FBI tracks him down. Sounds familiar. The left said we can't stop illegal immigration, and Trump fixed that in a weekend. Makes you wonder about all the other messes the Dems left behind when they were in charge. Well, I guess we don't have to wonder. We're watching the Trump crew do the cleanup right before our eyes. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.